So hello everyone who got to my new video. So today I'm going to discuss with the world about a very important topic with you, that is anisocoria. So anisocoria is a condition where pupils of the eyes are different sizes. We will explore what it means, why it happened, and what it could indicate about your health. Okay, so let's start. So anisocoria is when the two pupils of your eyes are different sizes. One might be bigger or smaller than other. Sometimes it's just how your eyes naturally are, but it can also be sign that something else is going on with your health, like a problem with your nerves, an eye injury, or a reaction to the medication. So it might noticeable, or the difference could be so small that you would barely see it. So the prevalence of this anisocoria in India is about 13.7%, and understanding the cause is very much important. That why anisocoria happens. So this is the anatomy of the eye, where you can see that there are the three main layers of the eyes. Okay, so here if I start from outside to inside, that is sclera, then uvea, then retina. Okay, so iris is the part of uvea. In the next picture, you can see it very nicely that this is uvea and iris is the part of this uvea. So before we going into anisocoria, let's take a quick look at the structure of the eye and especially the iris structure. So the iris is a colored part of the eye that is surrounding the pupil, which is the black center. So the pupil, the primary function of pupil is to control the amount of light that enter to the eye, and the constriction and dilation of the pupil is actually done by iris. Okay, so the muscles within the iris constrict or expand to make the pupil smaller or larger. So depending on the light condition, iris contain two key muscles that control the size of the pupil: the sphincter pupil and the dilator pupil, also known as radial muscle. So sphincter pupil is in this position and dilator pupilli are here like in a radial manner, and sphincter pupil are surrounding the pupil. Okay. So if I tell about the sphincter muscle, so this muscle is surrounding the pupil, and when it contracts, it makes the pupil smaller. So the process is known as meiosis. So this usually happen in bright light or when focusing on a close object, helping to protect the eye from too much light exposure, and also it improve the visual focus. Okay, and if I tell about the dilator muscle or radial muscle, so this muscle is arranged like spokes of a wheel, radial outward from the edge of the pupil, like this, like this, like this. Okay, so when it contracts, it pulls the pupil open wider. That is known as mydriasis. So this occur in dim light or when the body is in a state of excitement or stress, allowing more light to enter the eye and enhancing vision in low light conditions. So together, these muscles adjust the pupil size in response to light and other stimuli, helping to regulate the amount of light that reach to the retina. So that is a brief introduction about the iris. Okay. Now let's go to the next slide here. So first of all, causes of anisocoria. Okay, so here you can see that this is the normal pupil and this is the anisocoria. You can see here both pupil are same size. There is no abnormality detected. But here you can see that the left eye pupil is quite dilated manner in the right eye. So if I tell about the causes of anisocoria or unequal pupil sizes, first, sometimes anisocoria is just normal thing. About 20% of people have naturally different sized pupil, and it does not mean anything is wrong. But there are also some conditions where anisocoria might be sign of something more serious. If we see this picture, what is the purpose of putting this picture? Where this person is having unequal feet size. Will you call this thing a abnormal or normal? This is very normal, physiological variation. So that is very normal. Similar to that, anisocoria can also be normal, but it can be also due to some other condition. Like here, this is the condition, Horner syndrome. I already uploaded a video on Horner syndrome, right? So I will give you a brief idea about it. So this is coming under neurological disorder. So conditions like Horner syndrome, Turner palsy can cause one pupil to be different in size from the other pupil. So if I talk about the Horner syndrome, so it is a condition that affects one side of the face and causes the pupil on that side to be smaller than the other. So it happens when there is a disruption in the nerve pathway that control the muscles around the eye and the facial sweat glands. So along with the smaller pupil, so the patient might also notice that the upper eyelid drops a bit and there is a reduced sweating on the affected side of the face that I already told in my last videos. So it can be caused by various issues like tumor, injury, or certain medical condition affecting the nerve. So this is Horner syndrome. Okay, so here you will see the classical triad. Anhidrosis means less sweating, ptosis, and meiosis. Okay, so this is Horner syndrome. Okay. I also remember that I told about the first order neuron, second order, third order neuron, and where is the where in which location abnormality can be lead to with what condition. I everything told in my last video. So if you want to know more about Horner syndrome, then you can go and watch the video on that. Okay. Here also, if you see that the anisocoria. So this anisocoria can also be due to eye injury like trauma or injury to the eye or medication, drug side effect or some systemic conditions like brain aneurysm or glaucoma can also be lead to anisocoria. So understanding the cause is very much important before going to the diagnosis. So these are the symptoms of anisocoria. So anisocoria came with like wide variety of symptoms besides just noticing that one pupil is bigger or smaller than the other. The patient might experience that blurry vision. The patient vision might become hazy or unclear, especially if there is an underlying issue affecting the eye. Also, the patient might give it a complaint of eye pain, like here, this is the eye pain. So the patient might feel that discomfort or eye pain in the affected eye, which might be sign of problem with the eye or surrounding the structure. And also the patient might give the complaints of headache. Like sometimes anisocoria can be associated with headache, particularly if there is an underlying neurological condition. Or here in this picture, you can see that the patient is having photophobia because why? Pupil is dilated, so more amount of light is getting in the eye. So that is leading to photophobia condition. The patient might have this thing also. And droppy eyelid. So one eyelid might drop more than the other, which can be noticeable and might also indicate nerve issues. Like I told you about the Horner syndrome, where I also showed you the picture, right? Where is the picture of Horner syndrome? Let's show you. Here in this picture, you can see droppy eyelid. So this can be also a sign or symptom. Okay. And here in this picture also you can see that the right eye is quite looking very normal, but the left eye, the eyelid is quite droppy manner. Okay, so here you can see the pupil is normal in size, but eyelid is droppy. So I told you Horner syndrome is here. Eyelid only including Horner syndrome or ptosis or without ptosis Horner syndrome can also happen. Okay, so go to the last video and watch that properly. Then you will understand. So if you see that the patient might have these conditions and coming to your clinic, then definitely if you need to refer the patient to a neurologist or neuro-ophthalmologist for proper evaluation and treatment of this condition. And now, how to diagnose? First of all, history taking plays a very much vital role. So history taking is done to figure out what causing anisocoria. So here we start by asking few questions like where did you first notice that? So here we want to know if the difference of the pupil size has been there for a long time or it is something recent. So this can help us to understand it's something that's changed over time or it's been a consistent manner. Also, we asked about any other symptoms like blurry vision, eye pain, headache, droppy eyelid that I discussed in my previous slides. And this can give us a clue that what might be causing the anisocoria. And any recent eye injuries, like if you also need to take the history of eye injury, trauma, or medication, drug injury, if the patient, drug therapy. So you need to ask the patient that whether he is taking any specific drug he is using for a long time, that you need to ask to the patient also. And also, we want to know about other health problem like mm, neurological disorders. So that is also playing a very much vital role in diagnosis of anisocoria. So the patient might come with a MRI report or CT scan to you. So you need to see it very much uh, carefully. Okay. And in this picture, you can see that there is a measurement of RAPD. So here you can see the right eye is quite constricting white where the light is fallen, but in the left eye, when light is shown, then also the instead of constricting, the pupil is quite dilating. So that is indicating that this eye is having RAPD or relative apparent pupillary defect. So this thing also giving you the idea that yes, the patient is having anisocoria and it is because of the neurological abnormality. Okay, so that is very much important. Now here, as I told you earlier about the Horner syndrome. So to diagnose the Horner syndrome, so the eye specialist look for few key signs that are characteristic sign of the condition like myopia, miosis or small pupil. So the pupil on the affected side is noticeably smaller compared to the other eye. So this is due to lack of symptomatic nerve activity that usually help to dilate the pupil. So here you can see that in this pupil is very much small. Okay, and also ptosis or dropping eyelid. So upper eyelid of the affected side may drop more than the other side. So this happens because the muscle that lift the eyelid are not working properly. And anhidrosis, that means reduced sweating. So here sweating happen, there is no sweating. So there might be reduced sweating on the affected side of the face. So this occur because the nerve that controls sweating are also affected. And in some cases, exophthalmos or shrunken eye. So it is quite rare, but also you can see this condition like exophthalmos. Okay, so this thing can work. Okay, another thing like MRI and CT scan. So now you will ask me the question, why to send the patient for MRI and CT scan? First of all, rule out serious conditions. So here this imaging tests help to rule out or confirm the presence of serious underlying conditions that could be causing the anisocoria. For example, if I give the example, then like tumor, aneurysm, or other anomalies that might be affecting the nerve controlling of the eye, then CT scan or MRI can help in that thing. Also, diagnosing neurological issues like conditions like Horner syndrome or Tardna palsy can be associated with anisocoria and may be related to issues in the brain or nerve pathway. So, CT scan and MRI can provide a detailed image of the brain and surrounding structures, helping to diagnose these neurological issues properly and assess for structural abnormalities. So if there are suspicion of structural problems such as mass lesion inside the brain, so the CT scan and MRI can also give the idea about it. Evaluate trauma. If the patient has history of head or eye injury previously, imaging technique help to assess any kind of injury to the head. And because of that, after the consequence effect, it is because it is leading to what to say, anisocoria. So nerve damage can also be detected by this thing. Okay. So in summary, if I tell that CT scan and MRI scan are very much valuable tool for identifying and ruling out serious conditions that might causing anisocoria or ensuring appropriate and timely management. So proper diagnosis is very much important before giving the patient proper management. Okay, and so here the most common question that everyone asks is how to know that it is a physiological anisocoria or pathological anisocoria. So let's talk about physiological anisocoria first. So first of all, physiological anisocoria here, what it is actually. So there is a slight difference in the pupil size that's normal for many people. What I told you, about 20% people have this variation. And in case of physiological anisocoria, you will see a slight difference like less than 1 mm difference in pupil size in two eyes. Second, consistency. Here the size difference remain constant in different lighting conditions, and also it does not affect vision or come with symptoms like eye pain or droppy eyelid and reaction to light. Here both pupil respond normally to changes of the light, so that is indicating there is no neurological abnormality, tumor or aneurysm, anything. So it is very much normal, there is physiological anisocoria. But what about the pathological anisocoria? First of all, an unequal pupil size that indicates the underlying health issues, and the unequal size is more than 2 mm or 3 mm. The difference of size is in like that manner. First of all, the pathological anisocoria is less common but more concerning if you noticed it. Okay, and here very much significant size difference of the two pupil. Alongside, the patient might give with a complaint of eye pain, headache, or droppy eyelid. And if you do the RAPD test, then one pupil might not react to light as well as other, or might show an abnormal light reaction, that is relative afferent pupillary defect. That means a difference in the way the pupil respond to light, which can indicate the nerve damage. And also, what I told you about the ptosis, dropping of the upper lid. Okay. So, first of all, causes. Neurological condition are the main thing that can cause an isocoria, like issues like Horner syndrome or Turner palsy, etc. Eye disease like iritis or trauma can also lead to anisocoria. Infections or inflammations can also lead to irregular pupil size and irregular pupil reaction. And certain drugs can also cause pupillary changes. So if you notice the significant or sudden change in the pupil size, and the patient is telling that within this 1 week or 3 days he is having this condition, it is quite alarming matter, and you have to see properly whether there is a presence of RAPD or not. I uploaded video on RAPD also. You can watch it in my video list. Okay. So first of all, treatment. Here, treatment for the main way of treating the condition is treat the cause to treat the disease. These are the causes that is leading to the symptoms. If you treat the cause, then the disease will get treated. If it is because of the tumor, treatment of the tumor. If it is because of the aneurysm, treatment of the aneurysm, then only it will get treated. So treat the cause to treat the disease. These are some examples. These are two. I given you two cases here so that you will understand nicely. In first case, patient name is X, age 32 years, occupation is graphic designer. He was complaining suddenly in the morning. She observed that right eye pupil is larger than the left eye, with headache, with slight dropping of the right upper lid and blurring of vision for the right eye. Patient was not having history of eye injury, previous history of using any medication, or previous history of using, previous history of dissimilar pupillary shape. Here, in the initial examination show right eye is dilated and fixed, and the left eye reacting normally, and right eye having mild ptosis. Vision, right eye 20/40, left eye 20/20. And CT scan MRI was advised, and MRI shows small aneurysm with block, which is blocking the oculomotor nerve. And so this is why the patient referred to the neurosurgeon. The aneurysm was removed. That means treatment of the cause to treat the disease, and the patient got 20/20 vision again. And it can be a cause, it can be a case of Horner syndrome. If I tell about the case two here, the patient name is Y, 45 years of age. Patient occupation is software engineer. He was complaining of left eye pupil larger than the right eye since 10 years, but the patient is not having any history of blurring of vision in the left eye. Patient came for routine eye examination, where he was also given the complaint of left eye pupil is slightly larger than the right eye, and he previously told you need to see this thing also, that left eye is larger since 10 years. That means he know that his left eye is larger. Initial examination, left eye pupil is responded normally to the light. Vision is 20/20 in the both eye. The patient is not having history of eye injury, systemic illness, or any other using of medication. And he informed that the unequal pupil size is since childhood. So both pupil reaction found normal. No need to send the patient for MRI and CT scan. Patient diagnosed having physiological anisocoria in the left eye. And patient is only given presbyopic glasses for near. Okay. And that's it. So thank you so much. Thank you for your kind listening. And please don't forget to like my video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.